Hi everyone, Dave here. Thanks for joining me on Legends of the Spy. Great to have you with us. After not having a podcast for a couple of months since the Sam Heard one, I ended up having two in really quick succession. First off, I had a chat with Jamie Grimes, and this week I've got a chat with Ollie Banks. This is all as part of the project that me and Michael South, the photographer, are doing about our book, The National League Years. Jamie and Ollie have both written for the book, which is really, really great of them. They've been very, very kind, both of them, in giving me their time. Both of these chats, the Jamie Grimes one and this, were actually recorded just for those pieces that are in the book. But fortunately, both of them have given me permission to release them out there as really interesting, obviously, for us all to have a bit more of an in-depth look into the last few years at Chesterfield. Obviously, Ollie did come onto the podcast 2 years ago when he was at Barrow. Back then we talked about his first spell at Chesterfield and his whole career up to that date. So this little chat takes you from when he re-signed for the club 2 years ago through to that epic title win where he became one of the only a few select amount of players that have ever got 2 title wins at Chesterfield. As always, I am Spy Legends on Twitter and Instagram, and Legends of the Spy on Facebook, so find me on there. On there you can find the pre-sale link for the National League Years. There's 204 copies in the limited numbered first edition of the book, which is due out in early June, just about to send it to the printers, doing final proofreads and things as you're watching this. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. It'll be really great to get it out there. But in the meantime, I'll stop waffling on and we'll go over to Ollie. Always a great guy to have a chat to. One of the nicest guys in the sport, I think. Really funny as well. So I really enjoyed having a chat with him. Hope you enjoy it too. Here we go. This is Ollie Banks, Legends of the Spire, Part 2, years later. Here we go. Legends of the Spire! I suppose we had podcast Part 1, like, whenever it was.
Well, that 2 years ago. 2
yeah,
years
when
ago
you
about now, I reckon.
Yeah,
Bit later.
Yeah, it probably was a bit later. It's weird, isn't it? Season finishing in like mid-April.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then obviously you were at Barrow at the time, but were kind of probably knew that you were maybe on your way to us,
Yeah.
maybe. And then you
Yeah,
ended up
I
coming
had a
back.
bit of an inkling.
Yeah. So what was that whole? How did it all come about then? Coming back, was it just?
I was Phil Brown came in at Barrow and just instantly didn't see eye to eye at all, to say the least.
He seemed like a Marmite kind of character.
Do you know what? Right, when we played Kidderminster, he come up to me and he apologised for how he treated me, which I thought were really good. Because I suppose he didn't need to do that. Because he come to shake my hand, I said, "There's no chance I'm shaking your hand." So after the way you treated me, I said, "No." And he went, "No, I've come to apologise." And I said, "I'll shake your hand now." But no, he apologised for how he was. But it is what it is. And he came in, and I got I weren't. No, I tell a lie. I'd had a conversation with Robbo probably around March time, and he just said, "What's your situation?" And I said, "Well, I've just signed a 2.5 year deal in January." And he said, "Do you reckon you could get out for a small fee?" And I said, "I might be able to do better than that." But I might be able to get myself out for nothing. So I said, "I'll just keep you posted." I said, if something's 100% on the table, so because I can't put myself in that position of forcing my way out, kind of thing, without it nailed on. And he said, "Yeah, it's 100% there." He said, "Gaffer will give you a ring next week." Spoke to Gaffer. He said, "Yeah, all good to go. Just try and get yourself out of there." Which actually became easier thing to do when Phil Brown started leaving me out at the squad with like 3 or 4 games to go. So that's how it came about, really. And then Phil Brown got sacked. And I was like, "Oh no, might have to stay." But this new director of football and Pete Wild came in, and I just made it clear to them that the damage were done
Hmm.
on my how he treated me and the club allowed it to happen.
Hmm.
It gave me a perfect excuse, really,
Yeah, yeah.
one that I wanted to get out. So I met Robbo in our away on holiday in Marbella, and me and Robbo went for a few pints and sorted that side out of it. Then when I got back off holiday, I met the gaffer, sorted my deal out, and then I'd signed probably about 3 or 4 weeks before it actually got released.
No, right.
Um, due to my contract
Yeah.
termination, then they couldn't register me while 1st of July. So it were a bit of a strange one, really. I'd never done that before.
Mm.
So it was obviously I knew for quite a long time that it were happening, but I couldn't really say anything. And Gaffer
Yeah.
didn't really want me to say anything. He said, I want it to be announced, so try and keep it to yourself." But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it come about.
Was it like never being away from Paul Cook? Has he
Yeah,
changed a lot?
well, I've played against his teams and over years, and always had a chat with him and stuff. And yeah, some people said to me, Was it a tough decision coming back with it being in National League?" But I didn't really see it like that. I will come in. I spent a lot of time away travelling. I think I probably mentioned that to you when we did the podcast.
Mm.
Been at Tranmere, been at Swindon, been at
Mm.
Barrow. Spend a lot of time travelling and missing. To be fair, I haven't missed a lot of things with the kids, but there's nothing better than being 35 minutes away and
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
coming to games every week, and
Mm.
it's just so much. And obviously, when as a footballer, when you're happy, you tend to do better. So it just made perfect sense for me.
Mm.
Um, and it was weird walking back through on that when I come to sign. It just felt like same place. It was
Yeah,
strange.
yeah. It's funny, isn't it? And then you end up starting that season playing in net, which which you probably didn't expect when you signed.
No, no, I didn't know. But I didn't know Lucas were going to try and take someone's leg off after 10 minutes. But yeah, no, it was a strange one, but
He was a character, wasn't he?
made for a good story.
It was great to see him doing so well for Maidstone this year in the
Do you know what? Lucas
cup,
is
wasn't it?
such a great lad. I know that term gets thrown around in football quite a bit, but even times last season when he weren't in the squad, and he were probably unlucky not to be sometimes. He got a lot of stick at certain points, which
Mm.
were a bit unfair, but
Yeah,
he was brilliant, great lad. He'd be first on bus putting meals in for lads when he'd not been involved. So, like, just a really top guy, and I hope he goes on to or keeps doing well.
mm. Yeah, yeah. So how was pre-season and everything with it all? Is it quite a tough pre-season under?
Oh yeah,
Because I heard
yeah.
about Jamie Grimes was talking to me about Kieran Dyer's love of murder ball. Uh,
I think it's like a genuine love as well. Yeah. No, the pre-seasons are shocking. Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up. Now it's giving me anxiety.
you've got plenty. How long have you got? When will pre-season start again? Because obviously season
Probably
is
middle
August, isn't it?
towards end of June.
Yeah. So it's
I
quite a
don't
nice
know yet.
it's quite a nice break then. Uh,
Yeah, it's probably 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks more than normal, really.
mm,
Yeah, which is nice.
yeah, yeah.
Probably too long.
I was going to say actually, at what point do you miss being out on a training pitch with a football?
Now.
Just straight away.
Yeah, now. Yeah, straight away. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I miss it straight away. Um, everyone's different, I suppose. But
Mm.
I text Ash Palmer earlier. I said, "Could we come back in now?" Oh,
So that 22-23 season then, I think you scored your first goal back against Wrexham, didn't you, in that
yeah,
2-0 win against Wrexham? It was like a proper
proper.
well, it started off with a right ding dong season, didn't it? With us, Notts County and Wrexham all kind of battling for that top spot.
Yeah, that Wrexham game was a proper game of football, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of rain, under lights, full house. It was unbelievable. Proper game of football. They're the games that you want to play in, and and let's be honest, we battered them, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a sniff.
No.
And at that point, I thought to myself, because obviously we knew that them and Notts County were going to be strong. But when I looked at us then and looked at them, I thought, I didn't see us tailing off like we did.
Mm.
Um, but fair play to them too. They just kept going and going and going. And I think they had Langstaff and 40 odd goals, and the other Wrexham had Mullin and Palmer. They had a lot of firepower, didn't they?
Mm.
They had a lot of goals. And we just, if we're honest with ourselves, we just couldn't keep up last season. But the gaffer mentioned it other night at one of the dues that we've been at this week. He said we in a miles better position now to go up.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it put us a year behind, but I think in long run it'll definitely be more beneficial. We're in a much better position now to go up and be stronger, I reckon.
Mm. I guess at the time it doesn't feel that way. At the time you're just
No. I've
trying to
had
get back on track,
conversations with
aren't you?
people about that playoff final is up there with the worst day of my life. That
Mm.
shocking, horrendous. Seeing me little lads crying on sideline, it was not a nice feeling.
Yeah. Is it because you are older now and you've got kids and family and stuff like that? Does it make it
Yeah,
just add
100%.
that other layer of?
It does. Yeah, it definitely. I felt more gutted for them than I
Yeah,
did myself.
yeah,
You'll know yourself when you've got kids.
mm,
Everything's for them, innit? Um, no, but it weren't nice. Let's say, but it's an interesting stat that no one's lost a playoff final and then gone and won the league the season after that.
yeah,
I didn't realise that until a few weeks ago. But I can see how it happens to teams after such a disappointment. But we kind of swept it away straight away.
mm,
There weren't really a hangover from. I think it was Dobbs' dad said like he wouldn't even come out of the house, and I felt the same. Like
mm,
I didn't want to speak to anybody. Um, but then once we were back in training, nobody really gave it a second thought.
yeah.
Which credit to Gaffer really and staff for not letting it carry on longer than it needed to.
Mm. It was interesting, really, because I think from my point of view and a lot of other fans' point of view, it kind of quickly turned from kind of obvious disappointment, but kind of pride in the performance and that season, how we'd got so close to it. And I mean, it's just a luck of the draw, isn't it, when it goes to penalties? So it kind of turned into pride straight away. And when I was talking to Jamie, I was saying that unintentionally or not, all of the communications that you lot put out on social media or elsewhere afterwards kind of set the tone of, well, it was Mike Jones's tweet, wasn't it, where he said, we won't be making the same mistake next year. And I think it kind of set the tone amongst the fan base as well, which probably it just gave each other that little bit more unity between fans and players, even more so going into this season.
Yeah, definitely. I did an interview after the game the other day, and I said that there seems to be like you said, a real unity, even more so than last year. Because obviously we had a couple of bad spells last season, and obviously fans were disappointed. We get that, but we were just as disappointed as players. Um, I've not been in a dressing room where lads care more than what we have done over the last 2 years. Even players that have gone on to leave or a real proper set of lads who will give everything, but you can really feel it this season that there's everyone's so together, which is a bit of a daft thing to say because that should be just expected, but it's not the case, is it? A lot of the time.
Certainly, looking back at the last 6 seasons in the National League, we've not always had. Some years we've had a 50-man squad, with players signing every week, 2 or 3 managers in the season, things like that. It's been ripped up, start again, ripped up, start again. It's actually been really pleasant to have a couple of seasons with quite a settled squad, and
Yeah,
obviously not having anyone sign in between Freckleton coming in on loan and now there's kind of been no one signed, which has been amazing, really, hasn't it?
yeah, it has. Gaffer said to us in what will it have been? Obviously, it's been a bit. It's been easier for Gaffer to come out and say we don't need any players. We're going well because we have done so well.
Mm.
Why bring players in when we're doing so well? You only do, and it shows what's happened in the last 6 years. Chesterfield haven't we've not done that well, so that's the natural reaction to bring players in or make management changes.
Yeah.
But one thing you get from Gaffer is he's honest about things, and he said, if you keep going for me, and keep performing like you are, I'm not going to bring anyone else in.
Mm.
And he stuck to his word. So it's been good. It's been good. But obviously, looking back at the last 6 years, I left the club in League One,
Yeah.
and then to see what happened. Obviously, I still followed everything on social media, still looked at result every week, and and still had friends who played.
Mm.
Weren't nice to see what were happening. At a place where I got my real first chance,
Mm.
so it weren't nice to see at all, to be honest.
And it must be nice then for you to be one of the group that have then got them back up again, because it's such a horrid league to get out of, isn't it? It feels impossible. At some
Oh,
points, it just feels impossible to get out of.
I can't describe it. I've got so much respect for anyone who's got out of this league because it's so hard. It's so hard. I've played in League One and League Two, and honestly, that the National League's such an hard league compared.
Mm.
I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is. Whether it's one promotion spot, so everybody knows that, or the places you have to go to, the pitches. I don't know what it is, but it's some achievement to get out of it, and especially in the fashion that we have, it's it's very good.
Like, it has felt, from a fan's point of view, it's felt like the most relaxing title win promotion we've ever had, really. It's like been, we're 14 points clear, or we're 16 points clear. It's been quite nice, really. I suppose from your point of view and the players, you just have to zone out of all that stuff, don't you? And just go next game, next game, next game.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't feel like that for us.
I bet.
It's
Well, you were
weird
doing the
because
running, I wasn't.
when obviously I've got friends in football who we speak to, and I'd get a phone call saying, "Oh, have you got your flip flops on yet?" This was in like January, and I'm like, "No, we can still get caught." He's like, "Shut up, no, you got no chance of getting caught." But when you're in it, it doesn't feel like that. Even when we got to like 20 points clear, nobody thought to themselves, "It's done."
Mm.
It was a strange feeling. But if I were if I were looking from the outside, speaking to one of our players, I'd be saying the same thing. It's done. But when you're in it, there were no complacency or taking your foot off the gas. We couldn't afford to really.
Mm.
And while ever that points margin was so big, it I think that made it easier for us to keep knocking results out because pressure weren't as big.
Mm.
Like, fair play to them too last season for doing what they did to have the pressure on them each week and still keep winning games. But then at the same time, I think it's been brilliant that we've not really had anyone breathing down his neck, and we've still been
Yeah.
winning every week. Obviously,
It'd be,
apart from football.
it'd have been easy to have lost, you know, two, three, 4 games in a row, wouldn't it? At some point, if you were,
Well,
if
that's
you
the
had a taken your foot off. But like for the majority of the season, there wasn't. If we got a defeat, you'd then win 6 or 7 on the bounce afterwards.
yeah, that's the biggest thing that we spoke about. If we did lose a game or draw a game, we needed to go on a run after that. There were no losing 2 or 3, 4 games on bounce, like you said,
Mm.
which is what you have to do to win leagues. And we've done it in some style, to be fair.
Yeah. What's been your favourite points of this season? Obviously, it was nice scoring the winner on the last day. I bet you scored some good goals this season.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't think I can pick a. I can pick one point out. Um, it's just for for me now. Obviously, coming back and winning the league before, seeing what happened to the club, and then coming back and doing it. This one meant miles more than the first one.
Mm.
Um, just because of everything that's gone off before, and like I said, seeing what the club had been through, it
Yeah.
meant a hell of a lot. This one. Um, I don't think I can pick out a favourite moment. I think the Barnet game away, where we didn't particularly play pretty, but we were. Gaffer said to us before that game, he went, "We're going to be a bit ugly tonight, but just get the job done."
Mm.
Um, and that was the point we knew we'd won league. The Barnet game away, definitely.
Yeah.
But we've had some amazing games this season. Personally, I've had a, I think I've had a decent season. Could have been better, could have been worse. But no, I've loved every minute of it. Even when even when you get left out or don't play or whatever, I've loved it. I've loved
Mm.
every minute. And then, as you get older, I think you stop taking it for granted as much. Like the first league title I won, I was only 21.
Yeah.
Then you think, oh, this is good. Like I was new into it, coming to an unbelievable team. And I thought, is this just normal then? But then, obviously, I've had a career since then.
Mm.
10 years ago, and it doesn't come around often. Some players will go through the whole career never winning promotion. So I'm lucky enough to have had a few,
Mm.
and you do appreciate it a lot more as you get older, and then obviously you get to share it with my family, and so it's good. It's been brilliant.
I was going to say, actually, do you try and take time to appreciate it with all that experience? I imagine when you're young, it just flies by in the season. Do you
Yeah,
try and take time to appreciate it?
definitely. Yeah, it's like obviously celebrate with lads directly after the game, but my first thing was to go and get my missus and my kids.
Mm.
And it's like I won't walking round at front at queue. I just wanted to be with them and celebrate with them. Obviously, we've done the celebrating with the lads, but them moments like after the game Saturday and after the game at Barrow Wood when you've got your kids on the pitch with you and everyone's celebrating together, they're moments that you need to appreciate. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it, winning it a bunch of games before the end of the season because you end up on this like extended parade of I imagine you're doing that many photographs and autographs and all that kind of stuff in this kind of extended period of winning the trophy. It must be quite odd.
Yeah, I always make sure I set it younger lads. Like I've always got so much time for fans and signing stuff and having pictures because in a few years' time, and nobody's gonna even know who I am. So it's you've got to do things like that, and it's nice to be able to do that for fans as well, and they appreciate it. So it's something that I like doing.
Mm. And it must be. I mean, for some fans, you'll obviously be too modest to say, but there might be fans in 20 years that were little tiny kids for this season
Yeah, yeah.
that actually look back at you or the players being their kind of heroes that
Mm,
season. And that's kind of, I've said before on other podcasts and things, that they're the things you kind of hold on to when you go through a bit of a sticky patch. I always go
yeah.
back to just loving Steve Blatherwick when Steve Blatherwick was at Chesterfield. Used to love Blathers.
Blathers was my agent for quite a few years.
Yeah,
To be fair. A
I've
good guy, Blathers.
asked him before. He's never replied. But
Was he
one
not?
one day, Blathers. I'm sure he's a very busy man. But I used to love Steve Blatherwick. So it's like for yourself, it'll be, it's kind of amazing, isn't it, to be part of that group that then can
Yeah.
become heroes for a new generation of fans.
Yeah, it is nice that. Um, and we've seen a lot more kids coming through
Mm,
watching games and being involved this season. Definitely, you can see it. So the trust are obviously doing a lot of work, and whatever they're doing is working. But that's what you need. You need the new generation coming through and watching. And for some of them young fans, this will be their first season, so
mm.
it's a good way to start them off. Hopefully, there's not too many more disappointing seasons to come from, but that's the life of football. It's like a roller coaster. It's up and down, not just for fans but players as well. It's the craziest industry to be involved with. Um,
Yeah.
so you really have to cherish the times when it has gone near enough perfect
Mm,
or not much better. So you've got to hold on to them moments.
yeah. My 7-year-old this season has been kind of before every match, I'll go, "Are we going to win today?" I'll be like, "Yeah, of course we're going to win," because the home form's been that good. And then I think it was the Kidderminster match where it was a bit of a shock for him. It was a
Yeah.
bit like, "But we've lost today. I don't, what's happening?" I was like, "You have to get to get used to this. This will happen at some point. Like we
Yeah.
can't win every match. Why can't we win every match?" It is like amazing, isn't it? How it's only when you look back, I suppose, you realise how much of a juggernaut this squad's been throughout the season.
Yeah, it's been a bit like a machine. And if one, we've seen it with the rotation as well, especially of that three behind striker that I've been involved with now, playing a bit further up. I think there's me, Dobbs, Mandy, Bez, Colclough, uh, Jacobs,
Mhm.
and Bailey Hobson's been involved in last few games as well. I don't think I've missed anyone. Um, so there's like seven players really for three positions, and
Yeah.
but everyone's had a good season. I think I got 10 goals. I think Dobbs has got 11, 12.
Mm.
Even Nails has got 13, 14 goals, whatever he's got. And obviously Griggy and Quiggs as well.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
been doing their job. Over 100 goals. I think is it 120 in all competitions,
So yeah, something like that. Yeah.
which is unbelievable,
Yeah.
really. Um, going to, I remember going to walking away, and there were me, Griggy, Jacobs, Colclough, and Brandon Orton on bench, and we still won. And to
It's
have
a good
that many,
five-a-side team. That.
yeah, that many league appearances and goals on bench is incredible for this level. But Gaffer's created that and built that squad that has allowed him to do that. So fair
Mm.
play to him.
Who do you really like playing with around this squad of players? I mean, I imagine there's everyone, but there must be some players that are really on your wavelength that you like playing with.
I like playing with Mandy. I like playing with Deej. Darren Aldaker's a
Mm.
really good footballer. Um, Dobbs has got me a few assists this season. Um, I don't I don't think there's any lads who I really like playing with more than anyone else. We
Mm.
just I said to you earlier, we've got such a good group, real good set of lads. There's not been one fallout. There's not been nothing like that. Everyone gets on so well, and hopefully we can stay together as a squad, and there'll not be too much change.
Mm.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, that's not my decision, but hopefully that'll happen, and we can have a real good go next year.
Yeah. Has it been quite mentally exhausting? Because
Yeah,
when I was speaking to Jamie, he was saying, well, actually, you've got to think that some of us have been on it for like 2-3 years, kind of relentlessly playoffs, season, playoffs. That obviously when you get over that line, then it's going to be like, whew. So it must have been mentally as much as physically exhausting as a season.
yeah, they always are, and every season is. You need that. You need the season to come to an end, but you need that break. Probably more mentally than physically, to be honest,
Mm.
because you put so much into it. It consumes your life. Um, that's why I said to myself, really, the day we had kids, I said I'm never gonna take it home with me,
Mm.
and it's so hard not to do that.
But it is, yeah.
So hard. But as the kids have got older, I've found it easier to do that. Um, I, before kids, I'd really let it take over my life, and you're no better off for it. But it's
Mm.
nice to come home to kids because they don't really know. They're coming to an age now where they are getting, especially the older one, is proper clued up.
Yeah.
But you come home to get away from it. You don't want to be bringing bringing any negativity back, and they just cheer you up. And so it's yeah. I said when I had kids, I wouldn't do that, and I feel like this season, although we hadn't had too much to be disappointed about, it's not been too tough as a season. But the pressure of playing for Chesterfield in National League is obviously you'll know
Mm.
it's tough in that way. And when you've got Paul Cook as a manager, you need a mental a mental break because he is relentless. But you won't want anyone else because he gets success. And as a player, what would you rather be doing? Sat mid table or challenging for stuff?
Yeah.
And more often than not, Gaffer's challenging.
And I think, as Jamie said to me, it's all out of love. He knows it's all out. It's all out of love. So
Oh, me and the Gaffer have got. Everyone says we've got a crazy relationship, to say the least. But it's. I feel like because obviously I've known him a long time now, we can have that bit of edge
Mhm.
with his conversations, and we can say things that other people probably can't to each other, and we. But I do. I love him,
Mm.
and he says he loves me, so I'll have to take his word for it.
I suppose for him, it's all about trust, isn't it? He trusts you to,
Yeah,
and it's nice as well. It must be nice playing under him because obviously you have instructions to follow and things that he wants you to do and doesn't want you to do, etc. But also kind of lets you be a bit creative as well, which for a player like yourself who wants to spray it around a bit must be quite nice to have a little bit of freedom like that.
yeah, it is. We went. This was one of our difficult conversations because I don't want to be too honest, but um, I said to him at times I felt like he weren't allowing me to be as free as what I could be, and I said I feel like I get the best. You'll get the best out of me if you do, and he did. He took it on board, and that I think that's a massive thing between a player and a manager is being able to have them conversations with
Mm.
each other. Because in football, the manager's allowed to tell you when he's not happy and what he wants from you, but sometimes players need to say that to manager, and you need to be able to trust each other both ways.
Mm.
um, and I can have them conversations with him, and he can have them with me. And we might have face on for a few hours, but we soon get over it, and we're fine.
And what role does Danny Webb play? Because obviously he was when Cook came back in, we were all kind of assuming, oh, maybe he might leave at some point.
Yeah,
People want to bring their own staff in and stuff like that. But he seems to have forged himself a really key part in that team now.
yeah. Webb is a massive part. Um, you can see how much the fans love him. He's such a great guy, such a likable person, speaks so well, and he loves the club and the town as well. And that's why people will have taken to him, because he's just got the club's best interests at heart. And he doesn't have a massive input on um, different sessions in training, but he does all the set pieces and the organisation of everything. And I don't think it. It's like obviously it's like a machine. You've got all different parts, and if one person's not doing the job, it don't work. It don't run as the way it should. And Webb is a massive part of why it's run so smooth this year.
Mm. And speaking of Danny's, I wanted to ask who hits the shot harder, you or Danny Rowe?
Ooh,
Because he could
well,
really hit a
he
shot,
can
couldn't he? But
ball,
you
yeah,
can really hit a shot. I feel
yeah. I
like we
think
need one of the like a what's it gun, a speed gun.
yeah, I think it'd be a good competition, that one. So he can hit a ball as well, can't
Is that something you've been teaching the kids? How to hit a ball?
he? Yeah, yeah. They both hit a ball quite well. It'd be a bit weird if they didn't. Coming from me and my dad could hit a ball as well. So I'd like to think they're both going to be able to get a whack.
It's nice because like back in the day we used to shout shoot at people like Derek Niven and stuff like that, and he might get 1 in 50 on target or something like that. But you you're pretty accurate, aren't you, on those long shots?
Yeah.
Do you try it in training, or is it just an in-game thing?
Um. No, I do. I do try it in training. Luke Chadwick, the young lad goalkeeper, he gets really annoyed with me because every time I turn on halfway line, I try lobbing him. And I have done a couple of times this season. It won't be losing his head, bless him. No, I like to try stuff. I like to. I don't know if you noticed the other day after I scored, I tried shooting from halfway line and it went really wrong. But I like to do stuff like that. It keeps people on the edge of the seat. And end of the
Yeah.
day, I know we're in the results business, but we're there to entertain as well, aren't we? So
Mm.
it's nice to try stuff.
Yeah. And what a perfect way to end the season. It was a nice way to finish it off.
Yeah, it's been annoying me for weeks that I've not got to 10 goals. Um, so it was a bit of relief, really, in a selfish way to get to 10. But obviously, the broader thing was that we ended on a win, which we deserved.
Mm.
Deserved to go out like that. And it's been a tough few weeks since we won league. Because obviously, the gaffer's been on us, driving us, saying it's not being good enough, and it hasn't. But to stay on them levels
Yeah.
that we've done all season, and when everyone's so mentally drained and physically drained,
Mm.
never going to happen, really, were it? But I'm just glad that last game ended the way it did, and
Yeah.
it just made it a little bit sweeter. The celebrations after it didn't. Don't know if it'd have felt as good without that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially after the amount of games we've had against Maidenhead over the years, it feels like one of the last curses to cast out as we leave the National League to win a game against Maidenhead, which was quite nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So finally, then, what's kind of looking ahead? Then, do you? I mean, you finished third in League Two and you get promoted. I mean, it's kind of a good tradition of clubs getting promoted and then doing quite well. Do you think it's just one of those cases of keep the squad together, one or two additions, and you're up there?
Uh, I did it at Tranmere. I went on loan to Tranmere in 2017. I think I played about 12 games, something
Hmm.
like that. And then they got promoted, and I ended up signing there with someone. We got promoted through playoffs. Um, and teams have done it. It's a thing, and
Mm.
I do think you're right though. This keeping the squad together is a massive thing. I said that earlier. I hope it doesn't change too much, but obviously that's not my
Mm.
area of expertise. I'm just here to do a job, but the club will do what's in the best interests of the club, and they've got good people, such good people there making the decisions. So I do think we'll be up there.
Mm.
I do. I think we'll have to see, won't we? No one, no one really knows.
Yeah,
But
'cause
I do
looking at
definitely think we'll be up there.
looking at the league at the moment with the clubs, there's there's a few big ones that have gone up. Not Mansfield, but a couple of others relatively big ones that have gone up. But um, then everything else, it looks like it might be a bit of an open playing
Yeah,
field in terms of a promotion race next year. It could be one of a bunch of teams, couldn't it, that could be up there.
yeah. Um, Obviously, we'll be waiting to see who gets promoted through playoffs.
Hmm.
I think MK Dons are probably the best team, apart from the three that have gone up. I think we've got who's coming down: Carlisle, Cheltenham, Fleetwood,
Port Vale, maybe, is it? Is it
Port Vale. Yeah,
Port Vale?
yeah.
Mm.
So they're, they're not they're not massive League One clubs coming down. They're probably mainly League Two clubs that are coming back into it. So I think it will be quite open. I
Mm.
think it will be. You usually get a surprise package, don't you?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it's like I think everyone expected a few clubs to do a lot better than what they have. Who are down there, so
Mm.
it's such a it's a weird League Two, isn't it? Because you can put 10 games, a 10 game run together like Doncaster have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You only need a decent run in that league, and you seem to get in playoffs or in automatics. It's
Mm.
nobody tends to run away with it, do they?
No, you could probably get 20 points less than you got this season and still get promoted.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it's quite bonkers, really, to
What
think
what
about.
did we get last time we won league? Was it 86 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, with mid 80s, I think, something like
Yeah. So no, I really do fancy us to do well
that.
again. Definitely.
Yeah. Right. And there was one more question that I wanted to ask, and it's because there's someone that I speak to under the concourses every match, and
Yeah.
he's watched quite a lot of interviews with players, and he's always said that he wants me to ask players if they feel like they've been truly happy whilst they've been at Chesterfield. So do you feel like you've been
Personal to
happy?
me.
Yeah. So do you feel
Yeah.
like you've been really happy while you've been at Chesterfield?
Yeah. I do. Yeah. Um. Yeah, because you obviously I've been in football quite a long time now, and you know what unhappiness is.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely. Like you were saying to you earlier, it's the whole thing that surrounds it for me. It's such a good club. They look after my wife and kids really well when they come to games. It's not far from home, so everything just fits in perfectly for me.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really am happy here. Even anywhere else I want to be.